You are looking at Championship Court, and right now you are taking a look at the players getting their instructions from the referee. All four of these players, they've been around long enough to know that how it works out here. This match coming up, the winner of this match is going to go to the gold medal final. And we will have Leigh and Annalie Waters taking on Simone, Jardim, and Lucy Kovalova. Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim got out of a bit of a jam earlier against Lindsay Newman and Jessie Irvin. After losing the first game, they came back and won 2 in a row. And meanwhile, Waters and Waters have had a slightly easier path here to this match. And I'm your host, Mark Renison, bringing you the live commentary all weekend long here at this inaugural PPA event here in Mesa, Arizona. Seen some great women's pro doubles action today. And we've got 3 great matches to show you. We've got this one, followed by the senior pro gold match, which will be out here. And then followed by the pro women's gold match coming out here. And as we sometimes like to do here in the broadcast booth, we like to invite different people to come in. Coaches, players, pros, pickleball aficionados to come and join us in the booth and to share their insight. And I'm very pleased to announce that we have a special guest again. Now, if you were with us earlier today, we had a special guest. It was Lindsay Newman. And it only took a couple minutes, a couple clues for people to figure out who it was. So we'll see if they can figure out right now who our special guest is. Our special guest, I'll give you a hint before she starts to speak. She was playing in the tournament earlier today. My second clue is that you have heard her before on broadcasts I've done. And my third clue would be she's got one of the biggest forehands on the women's tour.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Oh, my.
Yes. All right, while you think about who that might be, we're going to look at Lucy Kovalova serving here to Annalie Waters. We see early on Kovalova and Waters going after one another. Back and forth, Lucy's ball catches the top of the net. That's going to be a quick side out. So special guest, what do you think? The keys to this match. If you're Waters and Waters, what is it that you need to do to resist Kovalova and Jardim?
Annalie and Leigh definitely have their game. Like, they like to speed up the ball. They don't like dinking much. So I think if they stay true to their game, they'll be successful here.
Okay, and let's say someone hasn't seen their game too much before. What can we expect to see from them? What does that mean? What is their game, if you were going to sort of describe it in a nutshell?
Yeah, the first opportunity that Leigh and Annalie Waters will get, they will speed up the ball, just like that.
Kind of like that?
Kind of like that. I mean, they're not patient in the dinking game. Whenever I get a chance to play either one of them, I like to dink shallow as best I can, short, just so that I could stay in the point a little bit longer and play my game, not theirs, give myself more time. But that's a difficult thing to do. It's very difficult. And
it's a nice counterattack off the backhand side from Annalie Waters. She was sitting on that ball and able to not only defend against the speed from Jardim, but also counterattack for a clean winner. 1-0-2 is the score.
Yeah, I see these points go so fast, and I'm like, what's going on? Where's the dinking? You know, where's the control? Where's the little game, the cat and mouse game? But you definitely don't see much of that here in women's doubles against the Waters.
So we are going to award 1 million bonus points to Brandon Hubschman, because he is the one who correctly identified our special guest, Michelle Esquivel. It's always really nice to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Lucy was sitting on that one.
Well, it took her 4. The first 3 Leigh Waters was able to defend well against, and that 4th one just couldn't quite catch up to it. We saw a little bit earlier, Michelle, in this match where Lucy's attacking shots were early on in the match, sort of catching the top of the net or going a little bit out, and Simone really started to take control of the middle of the court a little bit more as we watch her poach there. Wow.
What a dig by Simone.
Yeah, and they really had to work hard to battle back in that game and to win.
Nice. Simone had a nice deceptive shot there, but Leigh was ready to attack it. Nice quick hands by both Waters.
3-0-2.
Simone moving that ball around a stretch. Leigh. That was pretty good.
Yeah, one of the things that players do here when we watch the top women play, and maybe it's something that players at home can start to apply themselves, is to not assume that when they hit that ball hard, to not assume that it's going to end the point, right? To in fact expect that that ball is going to come back, possibly even with speed. And it's one of the reasons, you know, I know when we hear from people who are watching these matches, they say, wow, how do they catch up to those fastballs so well? How do they not only handle them but look so calm doing it? And I think it's often because they're assuming that, you know, the women they're playing with are so good that it is very likely that ball is going to be returned, possibly even with some pace. And so it really is kind of like this 1-2 punch if you want to finish off the point.
0-5-1.
Nice example. Maybe, Michelle, you can talk a little bit about sort of, you know, you were talking before about wanting to use the soft game yourself and when you're up at the net and keeping it short, and sort of the decision-making process you might go through when it comes to playing those softer shots, those dinks, sort of the direction you play them, whether you play them down the line at the person ahead of you, whether you play them diagonally or even over the middle. What are the kind of calculations that you or that these players would be making to make those choices?
Well, personally, I could just speak for myself. You know, I remember when it used to just go to the weak person, and then when you're at the pro level, you can't really do that.
And now all of a sudden there are no.
Right. So what I personally try to do is I try to get my opponents out of position so I could get that nice high pop-up ball to put away. And sometimes it takes one shot, and sometimes you have to be patient and you have to hit more, right? You have to hit 30 million shots. Just exaggerating there. But yeah, so you see how there's a gap right there in the middle. Anna Leigh was able to create that with her cross-court dinks. So sometimes, you know, when you're out there and you're dinking, maybe you see someone coming into the middle and then you pass them down their line, or you try to dink to their line so that you could get them separated away from the middle. So there's a lot of things, I feel like, what you're trying to do at the kitchen when you're slowing down the game and dinking. Just trying to create holes, gaps, miscommunication in the middle maybe, or down the line.
Something we saw early on with Newman and Irvin is against Lucy and Simone, they really were sort of going like east to west. They weren't really picking on one person or another early on. They were really sort of like hitting the cross courts to move one of them off the court. And then as the other one would slide over a little bit to cover that gap in the middle, then they'd go cross court the other direction and really try to create that opening.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different patterns, right? Just got to find which one works for you, which one works against your opponents.
As we see, Annalie gets handcuffed a little bit there. A little too close to the body on the forehand side. And we're looking at Kovalova serving 6-3-2. So that ball sails just past the baseline. And it looks like it's going to be a timeout here called by Waters. We're going to take a quick break as well. This hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. It's fun to feel good.
In pickleball, the last thing I want to think about when I'm playing is cramping or if you're able to perform 100%. Last US Open, I was playing singles and I was feeling like my right calf was getting like really stiff. And I was just like, okay, how can I help my body to perform better? When I start taking Jigsaw products, I'm going to have energy, I'm going to have good endurance, and I don't have to worry about me being tired or I'm going to cramp, so I can just play 100%. You only have one body, so you need to take care of it.
And we're back here in Mesa, Arizona. Mark Renison alongside Michelle Esquivel. You're looking at Championship Court. This is a match that will determine who goes to the gold medal final, and it's between Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim, and Leigh and Annalie Waters. If you like what you're seeing, you like what you're hearing, be sure to hit that share button. That way you can share with your friends. Every once in a while, we do need to go and do sort of refresh the stream. So if you're watching right now and you like it, please hit that share button so other people can see it too. Don't hog us all to yourselves.
Push off the football.
Ooh. This is an interesting one. Yeah, Michelle, maybe you can explain what happened. Sometimes people at home might say, wait a second, how is it? We're going to stay with this while we discuss. So Simone was called for a kitchen violation, and she was at 3/4 court. She was almost back at the baseline. How is that possible?
So when you push off of that kitchen line with any foot and you hit that ball out of the air, that's a kitchen violation. So even though you didn't hit the ball inside of the kitchen, it's a violation when you start in the kitchen and make contact out of the air. Interesting, huh?
Right. So what'll sometimes happen, and this is a call, referee here got it, but yeah, sometimes referees don't see it, is because very often when players are up near the non-volley zone and they get lobbed, what they'll do is that they'll actually take a step forward into the kitchen in order to push off and take a crossover back. And as they push off with that foot that's in the kitchen, they'll then take off of their other foot, and they'll be in the air. And so when they hit that overhead smash, the foot that initially stepped into the kitchen never actually gets reestablished, never actually touches down outside of the non-volley zone, which it must. And so that's why sometimes it looks strange. I saw Dave Weinbach once got called for one at the baseline because he pushed off and he jumped up, and by the time he landed, he was back near the baseline. And that's what it was. It's that initial forward step that can get players in trouble.
Just want to point out, I've seen Simone come in through that middle a lot and sneak over to Lucy's side to take that poach, that low poach, but it's very effective. I saw her utilizing against Lindsay and Jessie, and I think it's working a little bit here in this match as well. Not that time, but she's there again.
So maybe, Michelle, one of the things we've talked about earlier today was how good players are at, they're in a rally or they're in a reflex volley exchange, and then all of a sudden the ball clips off the top of the net, barely dribbling over. And it there's an example right there.
Right.
And more often than not, it seems like the players not only get it back, but get it back, in sort of a neutralizing way that can't be attacked.
Yes.
So What is it in your view that sort of allows these players to be so good at that? Because, I mean, you do a lot of coaching. I'm sure you've seen where, it's like that exact same situation, and somehow the ball just bounces twice in front of the person at the net. They don't even take a step for it. So, what is it that the pros are doing so well in those difficult situations?
It's a little sneaky little step called a split step, and it allows you to stay on on your toes. So nice, beautiful play, beautiful playing. But yeah, it's a little split step, so it allows you to stay on your toes, and it allows you to also push off in any type of direction, forward, back, side to side, diagonal. And I think just because you're on your toes, you're able to move to the direction of where the ball's going. But not only that, there's control after they move, so they're not in a panicky, out of control shot. What they do is they get to the ball, and then they're able to control like they've been doing it for millions of years. So, yeah, it takes a lot of drilling and a lot of repetitive motion.
And I think part of it is also sort of not assuming that it's going to hit the net and just stay on the opponent's side, right?
Absolutely.
Assume that it's going to come over.
Absolutely. You're always assuming that it's coming over.
We've got 5-8-1. Leigh Waters serving to Kovalova. There we go. There's that poach off of the third shot drive. Lucy was trying to get out of the way, clipped just off the side of her paddle. There's that drive poach combination again. This time Simone saw it coming and went down the line to Leigh, who was there ready for it. 7-8-1.
Yeah.
Rob Noonan was asking what the format for this tournament was. This was a double elimination, so if you lose in the main draw, you go down into the loser's bracket, and then you can win your way out of it. The path to the finals is a little bit harder when that happens, but it is doable. So both of these teams right now are undefeated, and the loser will go down into the loser's bracket, and they will play the winner of a match that's, I believe, on the court now.
Interesting.
There's what you were saying before about Simone covering the middle.
Yes.
All right, well, these players take a hydration break, sponsored by Jigsaw Health. We're going to go for a quick break as well. We'll be back in a moment with the completion of game number 1 here in Mesa.
Pickleball is very, very different. 8 to 10 matches in one day, and each match could be 45 minutes. Being able to start and go and stop is very, very challenging. When I'm taking Jigsaw Health supplements, I have the confidence to stay out there all day, and I can stay focused, energized, and cramp-free. I wouldn't recommend Jigsaw Health to any of my opponents. You guys continue drinking whatever you're drinking right now.
All right, and we're back. Mark Renison, Michelle Esquivel live here at the first PPA event of the year here in Mesa, Arizona. Looking at Lucy Kovalova, Simone Jardim taking on Leigh and Leigh Waters. It's a powerhouse of a matchup, and that's a powerhouse of a backhand volley from Waters Sr. Scores 9-7-2 with Simone serving. It's a tough serve out wide. Lee's got to work hard for it. And again, we saw that attempted drive poach combination. 10-7-2. We've got game point here. Jardim Kovalova. Wow.
Great drive by Simone.
All right, and with that, game number 1, 11-7 goes to Kovalova and Jardim. While the players take a quick break, we're going to take a quick break as well. We'll be back in a moment with game number 2 coming up. Stay close. Welcome back to Championship Court. Leigh and Annalie Waters getting a little bit of advice, perhaps, Michelle, from Randy Coleman.
Yeah, he's actually been coaching them all day, giving them some good tips. So let's see if they could come out with a new strategy or maybe something that Simone and Lucy haven't seen today.
It's important, when you can see right now Leigh Waters, she's pointing to the court, and really what they're doing is they're not talking at all about technique. They're not talking about how to put the ball in the court more often or anything like that, right? They're talking about the tactics. Who is it that we're going to target, or like you were saying before, Michelle,
Right.
What patterns are we going to use?
Yes.
What patterns are we going to try to stay away from? And so it's really important, if people are playing at home or they're playing with friends or doing some coaching themselves, is that typically, between those games or on timeouts, it's almost always tactical coaching that should happen rather than technical. Matches aren't really the time to start tinkering with your technique.
Simone taking that attack way below the net, right into Annalie, and just, that's such a good shot. You don't even see that it's coming. It's just awesome.
And there we go. And you see Lucy, she's happy about that when she puts up her hand, just like a little acknowledgement. When you hit someone with the ball, it's part of the game. It's not personal. But you want to make sure that, there's no hard feelings after that happens. 1-0-1, Lucy Kovalova serving. Oh, wow.
Oh, mom trying to take over there.
Great defense from Simone Jardim. She knows that she's going to have to make Waters and Waters earn every single point out there. 2-0-1.
Second server. 2-0-2.
So, especially after that return to serve, so Michelle, I want to ask you a question that I've been asking some of the pros we've had in here today. So I've got a theory,
Okay.
and I want to know what you think of this theory.
Okay.
So, you know how we often talk about the return of serve should be deep, because that way if your opponents are far away, they can't really do that much
Are you
damage,
going to tell me you
right?
should keep it low?
Second server.
My theory, Michelle, is that increasingly, because, the standard way of thinking about it, look, that ball would have gone out. The standard way of thinking about it is you return deep, because that way if the opponents slam it at you, like I would rather be 35 feet away from you your forehand drive rather than 25 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
And the further back you are, the easier I'm going to be able to handle those tough balls, the more likely you can't do damage. Now, my theory is that players are starting to realize, especially as the players come in, they're like getting stronger and bigger and the equipment's changing, that even if it's a deep return, if it's high, those players with these monster forehands and backhands can still cause trouble. But if it's low,
Yeah.
and whether it's a low ball to the baseline, a low ball inside the baseline, even a low ball just past the kitchen,
Yeah.
that's low, like shin height by the time they get it, that too will be a neutralizing shot, because the players have to hit up. They're so close to the net that if they hit up and hard, it's going to go out. So my theory is that in 2020, the major game changer is going to be, it's no longer about the depth of the return, but it's much more about the height of the return. Good idea or bad idea?
That's what I've been doing for the last year. I've been keeping that ball
Sounds
low.
like Renison, you idiot. That was the plan for 2019. Where have you been for the last year?
Oh my
No?
god.
So what do you think? Just
No,
like
I
just
think you're
chip like a
right.
little backhand slice. Just chip it low. Don't care how deep it is. As
Yeah.
long as they've got to significantly. Hit
I
up.
even have
Like
been
that
working.
short?
Yeah, exactly. And even on my serve, Mark, I've been actually trying to keep the ball low so that the ball doesn't come up into the strike zone. It's just easier to hit the ball in your strike zone. which is right at
Yeah.
at waist level. So why not try to keep it down below the knees, and have someone get under that ball, have to pick it up. You're absolutely right. I think it's a great theory. I think I'm
And
gonna.
like they still can drive it, but they can't drive it as fast. and keep it in,
Exactly.
right. So if they're hitting like a 60% drive, you can handle that. Or
Right.
they play a drop, which is no big deal anyway, right? It's like
Right.
a slow-moving ball right at you that they have to hit perfectly. So that's my theory. Lindsay, by the way, Lindsay Newman,
Yeah.
she looked at me like I was crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think you're
Okay.
you're
All
right
we'll
on
see.
it
We'll
actually.
see. I'm
yeah.
taking a poll over the course of this weekend.
And you know what? It's that, and it's also mixing it up too, and being unpredictable, right? So like throw in that serve and throw in other serves as well, so that it just doesn't become predictable. Nice. Way to move the
Waters in a
ball.
bit of trouble here, trying to reestablish himself near the kitchen. They do.
I love that point. It was just so much movement, so much ball control.
What a great example of how players need to be multi-dimensional players here, right? It's not enough to be able to hit hard.
Right.
You have to be able to defend. You have to be able to reset. You've
Yes.
got to be able to get yourselves out of trouble.
Oh, Simone tries to speed up that ball in the middle, but it just wasn't quite there because maybe that ball was just a little low.
Just saying.
Like we're saying.
2-2-2. Annalie Waters.
Nice.
So you got to think right now, Michelle, that's a little bit tougher being on the Kovalova Jardim side, right? The sun's getting lower. It's
Right.
about 4 o'clock local time here, and you can see pretty severe shadows coming across the court. And Lucy and Simone are definitely the ones looking into the sun right now.
Oh.
And I think this is the moment that Lucy and Simone are so dangerous, going on a low run here. Got a couple lucky bounces. They're still just on first server. Here we go. And there's that timeout. Yeah. So Waters. They're gonna maybe get some water or a delicious beverage from Jigsaw Health. We're gonna be back in a moment. More from Mesa PPA, first tournament of the year.
It's no secret, I lose so many electrolytes when I play. Eventually, I either start cramping or I run out of gas.
Electrolyte Supreme gives me enough energy and hydration.
They prevent cramps, and what's really important to me, they help me to recover quicker.
I know I can push myself a little bit more and not have to worry about cramps.
I feel better, I feel good, and it's fun to feel good.
We're feeling great, we're energized, and we're ready to have a great day, right, Lucy?
And it's fun to feel good.
And as Leigh Waters checks out how round that ball is, she seems happy enough about it. 4-2-1 is a score. Kovalova serving, and she and Jardim have put together a few points in a row here. Got to think Waters are pretty happy with Simone missing that third shot there. You see Waters use hand signals behind their back. That's to let them know whether they're going to switch or stay. The reason that they do that, switching and staying, is to be a little bit unpredictable for their opponents, so that Jardim and Kovalova aren't necessarily sure which side each player is going to be playing on. 2-4-1.
Nice. Nice dig by Simone. Nice hands by Lucy. What a point. What a point.
Could hear Leigh telling Annalie, good drop, that's the way. And I was saying earlier, Michelle, I think that's one thing that waters are underrated about
absolutely.
is their ability to play drops, to play the soft game, to get themselves out of trouble. We're seeing a little bit of it here. And there we go. A little bit of help with the net. Leigh will take that.
Three, four, two.
It's one of the things, Michelle, I mean, one of the reasons I love watching you play is the amount of topspin that you are able to put sometimes on those dinks, on those softer games. Not just topspin, but also backspin as well. And it's something we've seen. Wow. Whoa. Okay, mom overrules daughter there on that around the post. Good sportsmanship. So as I was saying, we're seeing players now use more and more spin, whether it's topspin or backspin, sometimes even side spin.
Yeah, 5-3.
And why would that be? What's the point of using spin? Why wouldn't I just want to play? There's another ATP.
Oh my gosh. What just happened? Another ATP. Leigh is there to cover it, and it just dribbles over the net. Oh my gosh. I love this game. It's so much fun. Oh, yeah. And now, I don't know. I'm sorry. I forgot your question.
We're
But
talking about spin on the dinks.
oh, yeah. Oh, the reason why you want to use different types of spins is to, like, if you use side spin, you're able to move that ball a little bit wider off the court. If you want backspin, Simone, if you want a little backspin, maybe you want to slow the ball down. Topspin kind of speeds it up, gets it to move. So you just want to incorporate a little bit of all of that, so it's not just seeing the same ball. Your opponent's not just seeing the same ball over and over, and it's for moving the ball around. Oh, man.
See, Chad Edwards has joined the feed, watching his wife, Simone. They're up a game in 6-3 here. In game number 2, the winner of this goes to the gold medal match, to be played not too long after this one's over.
4-6. Yes.
A little bit risky going with that down the line drop. Not a lot of room to work with when you hit straight ahead.
Incorporating the lobs. Nice.
I don't feel like
Defense.
there's a good chance.
Defense. There you go. Nice.
Oh.
Great point. What a great point.
We talked earlier about the sun, and that could be one of the reasons. I think in like different conditions where the sun's not a factor, or maybe there's a little more cloud cover, I don't imagine those lobs being quite so effective. Looked like Simone and Lucy had to sort of hit them not quite at full speed to make sure that they hit the ball cleanly. All right, at 7:41, there's going to be a quick timeout. We're going to be back in a moment while the players have this hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health.
Pickleball is very, very different. 8 to 10 matches in one day, and each match could be 45 minutes. Being able to start and go and stop is very, very challenging. When I'm taking Jigsaw Health supplements, I have the confidence to stay out there all day, and I can stay focused, energized, and cramp-free. I wouldn't recommend Jigsaw Health to any of my opponents. You guys continue drinking whatever you're drinking right now.
Arizona at the first of 7 PPA Tour stops coming up in 2020. More than $500,000 in prize money that these pros will be competing for. And today we're watching women's pro doubles. After this match, we'll see a women's pro senior doubles match. Right now, though, we've got 6-3 Jardim and Kovalova. And there we go. Leigh Waters gets a little bit handcuffed. Just off the inside of the paddle.
8-4-1.
8-4-1.
It's kind of crazy when you're watching the interactions in between points. You don't have so much time that you try to sneak in a quick, hint to your part.
Mm-hmm.
I see that a lot between the waters. It's really nice that they can communicate.
Simone with a good top spin drop. Look how far back Anna Leigh is.
Point.
Simone and Lucy doing a great job of keeping the pressure on, and they're on a bit of a run here. Waters and Waters have to be careful.
9-4-2.
9-4-2. There we go. With authority. All right, we've got match point here. Simone Jardim hitting a pretty hard serve. She's trying to close it out. And with that, that is the match. Jardim and Kovalova take down Waters and Waters in 2 straight games. They've got to be happy with that result and that performance. They're heading into the gold medal match, which will be coming up not too long from now. Meanwhile, we have a gold medal match coming up here next on Championship Court. It's going to be the senior pro women's doubles match. You're going to want to stick around for this. Stay tuned. More here live in Mesa at the PPA tournament.
Nice.